Season 5 of the Kashif Booth podcast is proudly sponsored by Taylor.Style, a men's fashion styling subscription service, which uses AI and professional stylists to find the right clothes for your next event. Whether it's a business work trip, a movie premiere, Taylor.Style can cater all the needs for you, and you don't need to keep the clothes. You can hire them and send them back once you're done. With their several different subscription packages, you can get clothes monthly or quarterly. Taylor is perfect for the busy man on the go, or if you are working in the film or TV industry and you need some clothes for your latest production, hit up Taylor.Style. You can be able to get reasonable clothes at great prices and no fuss. You can return them when you're done. It's so easy. There's just 5 simple steps. You curate the clothes that you need it for, then you get a new package of clothes in 2 to 3 business days, and then when you're done, swap them out for new ones and enjoy. And then you can repeat the whole process whenever you need a new set of wardrobe for whatever event or occasion that you're attending. Get 25% off your first monthly or quarterly plan by using Kashif at checkout or Kashif QTR. Check them out at Taylor.Style. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Kashif Booth podcast. If you're new here, each week I sit down with a guest and we discuss their career so far, the highs, the lows, and what's next for them. Today's guest is the co-founder of S.O.U.L Fest. Welcome to the show.
Hey Kashif, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on the show. So please introduce yourself. Who are you? Let them know.
My name is Yare Igihon, Yare for everybody in Lagos and close by. And essentially what I am is I co-founded the festival, S.O.U.L Fest. It's a Black British film festival. I also do lots of other bits and pieces, but that is the main reason I'm kind of talking to you today and why anybody wants to talk to me most of the time. So that's like the festival essentially represents Black British talent and connects audiences with our kind of emerging and established Black British talent, and then kind of tries to connect the sort of global African diaspora through the mediums of film and television and just general creativity.
Amazing. I mean, S.O.U.L Fest, I'm not being biased, guys. I already had attended before I even met Iare. So it was just definitely great to connect. We only connected, I'd say, beginning of the year, I would say.
Yeah, early this year, I think. Mm-hmm. I think the thing is what happened with that, I think, is I'd really started to notice a lot of your stuff online. I was noticed that you're coming up, stuff that you were doing was popping up on my timeline. And I was like, how is this guy so kind of on the whole black media thing and I don't know him? It just felt horrendous, that situation. So I literally, did I send an email to you? Like, do you have a contact form or something?
Yeah,
I sent an email to your contact form or whatever like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and you very kindly responded. So I appreciate that.
Well, I was definitely, when I saw it from S.O.U.L Fest, I mean, it's brilliant. I've been going for so many years and it's such a great platform that you have, especially like you said, showcasing Black British talent, which is really important in that field, because when you look at Black British film festivals that are on a certain level, I'd say there's S.O.U.L Fest and then there's also Buff. And that's it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's only
I think there are definitely other things and things that have come and gone over the years. I think the important thing is that, we have multiple outlets for what we are and what we do and what we contribute. Unfortunately, I don't think any one of us can do everything for everybody. One of our limitations is that we just can't screen everything. So, it's heartbreaking sometimes when we fit some of the films that we have to turn down, because most of the time, like we have to turn down some great films because we just don't have the real estate to program them on. But it's something that we're trying to work on and build up. But I think that, there isn't a hell of a lot of stuff that's been going. Buff are incredible. They've done over 20 years and have done all sorts of different sort of iterations. Ours, this year will be our 8th. So you can see we're still, we're still kind of,
You're growing.
But if you've been around any 8-year-olds, do you know what I mean? We're precocious. Do you know what I mean? Starting to find our feet in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
we're starting to answer you back. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
A little bit of lip that you might have to
Okay.
kind of nip in the bud early, that sort of thing. We're an 8-year-old.
Yeah. But it's such a great platform because, you know, we've had Screen Nation Awards, but obviously
Yeah.
I don't think that's even anything anymore, especially now that Charles, the founder, had passed away last year as well. And even prior to that, I didn't really see the award show kind of being on so much anymore. So it's great to just see two film festivals that are Black British still thriving, growing, and, you know, moving forward like that. So it's great.
Absolutely.
So tell me about how you were able to come up with Soulfest, because it is between yourself, the British Blacklist,
Yeah.
and We Are Parable. So these are obviously all three of you doing amazing work. So what made you guys kind of come together to create this?
What had happened was, right, I was, Nuru and I, who's my kind of co-founder in S.O.U.L, we were running these screening and networking events at the BFI. So we started that in about 2014, and every quarter we'd run an event. We'd pull together a group of films. We'd ask people to submit films, and everything was all free. The whole thing was free. You'd come along, you'd watch some films, and then you'd hang about for some free drinks and networking. And that's how we kind of started the thing. And that started because we were, people would ask us, well, how do we get our films on at the BFI? And I was like, I don't know, bruv. And then we was like, hang on, hold on a second, let us come back to you. And then we went and we talked to some of our colleagues and people who were working at the BFI. And neither of us were full-time at the BFI at the time. We were like visiting sort of freelancers coming into the building. And the education team over there gave us a little bit of space, and that's how the S.O.U.L Celebrate Connect events came about. That's why we you know, that's where when the name started, because we had to find, as we started to put those together, we had to find a brand, a name for it and everything. And that's where all of that came from. And then after a few years of doing those, so we did those predominantly between sort of 2014 and 2019. And people used to then ask us, well, can you put my feature film on? And we were like, oh, really? We get 90 minutes on screen per quarter. Giving it all to one film seems a little bit, I don't know about that, but let's see if we can find a way to kind of find spots for feature films as well. That's where the conversations with the BFI to start putting a festival into their public program came from. And then eventually, we spent a lot of time asking them, and eventually, when we kind of got the go-ahead, it was maybe like March, and we got the go-ahead for a date in August. And we were like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? So that's how the partnership with We Are Parable and the British Blacklist came in, because it was like, okay, look, come and be partners on this festival with us, work with us so we can get it done. And that's how that whole thing came together. And so British Blacklist, they bring their sort of their talent and their sort of media platform and their whole kind of site on that, and Queer and all of her brilliance. And then Anthony and Tian, they brought that whole sort of experiential viewpoint and that exhibition of films viewpoint as well. And so the three of us kind of pulled the thing together. And that's how the festival started. So that was 2019. And so we had a great festival in 2019. And one of the things that we did at that festival in 2019 is we were promoting and helping to kind of spread the word about an event that was going to happen later in the year, which was like this sort of ABFF Global Series. And so we did that. And that's how the relationship with ABFF came together. A big shout out to, I think Zena Tuitt was the person who kind of brokered that connection. And then, so we did the festival in 2019. They did their event in 2019, and then COVID hit. And so we didn't see them for 2 years. But we kept going. We did virtual festivals through those 2 years of COVID. And then that would take us to maybe like sort of 21, 22, I think. And 22 is when I think the ABFF came back, and we decided that we would partner on the event. And that's when it became Soul Fest times ABFF London. And that's where we are today.
That's really good to hear that journey, because it's funny, because I went to the first ABFF Global in London in 2019, because that's when they partnered with the Screen Nation Awards. And funny. It was funny because I had won a Screen Nation Award back in 2018, and I
Oh,
went to
congratulations. I
ABFF.
didn't know that.
Oh, thank you. And I had gone to ABFF in 2019 in Miami. And so
Yeah.
I just was reminiscing about it. And then they saw my tweet and asked me to come. So I was kind of like there seeing how it all kind of played out. And it was interesting because I had seen all the films literally a few months prior in Miami. So
Yeah.
it was great to see, obviously COVID hit. And so it was great to see how that's continued because Jeff and Nicole, the founders of ABFF, they're amazing.
Yeah.
What they've done over there is great. And it's so good to just see you guys merge it. Because the last time I went to this film screening of, it was like, what's his name? Jesse Smollett with Vivica A. Fox. They had that Christmas movies.
The Lost Holiday.
That's it, yeah. So I was there for that, and just to see bridging that gap of, you know, the Black diaspora, it was great to see.
Was that, so when you went to see The Lost Holiday, did you see it in London or did you see it in Miami?
No, the first time, because I've only been ABFF once, and that was in 2019. Yeah. So that year, everything that was screened in ABFF Global, I'd also already seen. So it was like the HBO short film competition and stuff like that. But I didn't go that time. But I know more people go now because it's getting more recognition over here. So, but
and I mean, and it's in Miami. It is a phenomenal thing to do because you kind of pop in and out of the festival of events, and then if you like, if there's a moment when there's not something on that you fancy, or you've kind of burnt yourself out a bit, you just head to the beach.
Exactly.
Do you see what I mean?
Exactly.
And there's just lots of great places to eat, and it's a real vibe, like Miami, South Beach in Miami. So it's a great thing to go off and do.
So well organized.
So you saw The Lost Holiday in London at the BFI.
Yes.
That was a crazy night because Vivica A. Fox sat in and watched the film. It was
I was like, what nuts. Do you mean? Like, but just so to have these Black Hollywood royalty, just being able to merge that, and such a great partnership. And I think it's great that ABFF Global is a thing because it's always great to see them trying to reach out to diaspora and further, build and showcase work across the world. So, which is great. So I love that. I love that. So how have you found navigating pulling off a festival every year? Because I know it's not anything easy. Getting funding, and what is it like? Tell us the real deal.
it's honestly, it's a battle. It is a battle every year. I mean, in the last couple of years, it's gotten harder because so much of how we funded the festival was coming out of the media industry, DEI budgets, corporate social responsibility budgets. And obviously, over the last couple of years, that's really started to pull back a little bit as sort of industry has kind of pulled away from sort of DEI. And I think anything that kind of celebrates Black people is often kind of immediately sort of said, all right, well, that's a DEI thing. You wouldn't get involved in that or do anything with that outside of a commitment to DEI, which I'm not sure if makes a lot of sense. But obviously, having worked in that space a lot, that's where the kind of natural place for me to start getting it going was coming from, right? So that challenge of kind of finding the money and putting it together it's always been an ongoing challenge. It's just part of it. I think one of the biggest challenges for me personally is that over the years I've been running the festival, I've been working on it part-time, so that's always been a challenge as well. This year, interestingly, I've been on it full-time in the last few months, and that has been a real revelation. So I dream of kind of being able to do that full-time for but and then it's just a case of, it's just a lot of moving parts. Do you know what I mean? It's like venues and talent and content and like staffing and print and legals and everything. It's just lots and lots and lots of little plates that you've got to keep spinning and things that you need to check on and things that you need to get. So it's a real sort of project manager type of a task in one way. but it's also like a very creative sort of a thing as well, because you're trying to find that balance between all of the different constituencies that you want to talk to. So you really want to talk to that filmmaker community and support them. You also want to talk to Black audiences. You want to find the balance between those sort of the general film cinema going audience and the sort of the industry and the people who kind of want to make films and things like that. So you're always trying to strike that balance. And then, it's just trying to do that in creative and interesting ways that people will come out of their homes to kind of be part of.
Yeah. How difficult do you find promoting the festival and trying to reach not just filmmakers, but also general audiences?
I mean, it's not easy. One of the things that's like, really hard, because like you see people and they go, "Oh my God, this is amazing. How come I've never heard of it?" And that hurts a lot. Do you know what I mean? Because we do so much to try and promote it. But I think the thing is, it's doing stuff like this. It's being around, staying consistent, just doing it every year. That kind of helps to build up the audiences. And I think, and it's a challenge that I'm kind of trying to work on more and more every year. How do we kind of make sure that as many people from our community that would be interested and be keen to support it know about it when it's happening, so part of that has been that we're trying to extend things and make sure that things are happening all year round, not just during the festival week. We tried to make the festival week bigger, so that's one of the things that's changed. We've up until last year, we used to do the festival over 4 days. This year, we're doing it over 9 days. We've added additional cities around the UK. This year, we started publishing a podcast, so there's something to kind of check into all year round. But that is a battle in itself, trying to kind of find the audience and get that to the audience as well. But it's really it's amazing because like we get so much good support and from the industry in lots of different ways. We could always do a little bit more. And if any sort of pro-Black billionaires who are looking to kind of invest in a thing, then send them my way.
Exactly. But how have you found the diversity in audience? Do you feel like you have a tough time trying to get non-Black people to come to the festival, or to see the value in Black film outside of it just thinking it's a Black audience?
Well, I mean, I think there isn't like a big problem in terms of getting other people to come. I think they don't, like, people who are not like from like Black communities and everything are not feeling like left out or like that they can't come. And there is interest in sort of the in some of the content and in some of the talent that's on show. So that's not really so much of a problem. It's just really making sure that you're getting the message out there to all of the audiences. I mean, you don't have to be Black to enjoy Black film and to enjoy Black culture. Obviously, we know that. If we think about like music and fashion and everything, you don't have to be Black to enjoy stuff that comes out of the Black cultures. But equally, we're really working hard to create a space that really feels welcoming and supportive of Black people and Black communities. It is a priority to make sure that those people feel like it's for them. If other people kind of come along and feel part of it and want to participate, then they are welcome. But like, I think the real job is to create spaces where we're acknowledged and we're celebrated and we are wanted, frankly.
Yeah. Like with ABFF, when I went there, I was really blown away by seeing all of the partners that they have. It was Netflix, even, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the comments, but I remember Jeff, the co-founder of ABFF, I remember him saying that he went to Sony Pictures and pitched ABFF to them, and they literally funded the film festival, Spike Lee, and when I'm looking, they have a HBO short film competition,
Sure.
winners of that have been Ryan Coogler. They've been it's gone from my head. The guy who
Did
directed
Moonlight,
Barry Jenkins,
Jenkins,
the
yeah,
guy who did Sorry to Bother You. Like they're previous winners of
Boots
this show.
Riley,
There we go. That's it. Boots
yeah,
Riley. You know, that's amazing. And I'm always talking about the value of the black pound. And I don't
yeah,
think like there's been enough monetary value for brands in this country to invest in like your film festival. I know obviously you're backed by BFI, but sometimes to be able to spread far and wide in terms of the promotion and like
yeah.
what you said about what do you think can be done to continuously show the value of the black pound, because you are a film festival that has been now running for 8 years. What do you think are like the roadblocks?
I don't know. I think for us, one of the roadblocks has simply been
Mm-hmm.
time um and people power. You know, we just haven't
Mm-hmm.
had enough resource to be able to go and really get out there and let the industry know,
Mm-hmm.
let particularly brands and companies know that we're
Mm-hmm.
around and that we're there to be supported, and, you know, and what we
Mm-hmm.
have to offer in terms of an audience and a platform. So that's
Mm-hmm.
a big part of it. You know, we have to take responsibility for yourselves. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But equally, you know, I think, like, and we've had some great support over the years,
Mm-hmm.
different,
Mm-hmm.
like, specifically media bands, and every year of Soul Fest has been supported by Sony Pictures as well, you know. So
Okay, good,
like,
good.
we have to be really sort of mindful to kind of you know, not to kind of you know, downplay the support we have had. Now,
Mm-hmm.
could we have more support? Absolutely, yes. I
Mm-hmm.
think
Mm-hmm.
the big challenge and the big opportunity for us is
Mm-hmm.
now to kind of branch out and start, like, and add not just for DEI corporate you know, social
Mm-hmm.
responsibility money, but actually
Mm-hmm.
get marketing budgets. And part
Yes.
of the job there for us is to kind of go, okay, well, look, this is how many people come to Soulfest, and this is how
Mm-hmm.
many people
Mm-hmm.
follow us online, and
Yeah.
this is the
Mm-hmm.
amount of tickets we sold, and this is the percentage of tickets that we sold compared to the percentage of tickets that were on offer, and all of those sorts of things. And having that information, having that data, doing that
Mm-hmm.
work so that people can really understand the value of kind of supporting us and being and coming with us on the journey. That's part of the job that someone like me has got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and we're kind of up for the challenge and really kind of working hard towards the next few years of the festival. You know,
Yes.
2028 will be our
Yes.
10th anniversary. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
already kind of working and planning towards that 10th
Amazing.
anniversary. But I've got to get through this 8th one next month first. And then
Exactly.
there's a 9th one in 2027. So yeah, so,
Mm-hmm.
but we're working really hard to kind
Mm-hmm.
of work out how we can connect with brands, how we can get greater support, and part, you know, and that's why, you know, you've seen we've kind of been increasing the festival's footprint, reaching out
Mm-hmm.
to different parts of the UK,
Mm-hmm.
adding also this year we've added a digital program. So not only are we going to have some of the films in the BFI player after the festival for a month, during the
Oh, good.
festival we're doing some online events that are on sale right now. You can go and book tickets
Good.
for a session about how to take advantage of networking in the sort
Okay.
of those live rooms and those live
Mm-hmm.
networking sessions that you see across the industry so much. So one of those, and then we've got another session which is going to be about agents and when you should get an agent and how that all
Oh,
works and how the response
good.
the relationship with agents works. So we're going to work on that one. And then we're also hopefully this week we'll have a session about script writing going live as well, and we've got some really
Mm-hmm.
great talent from the industry supporting that. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so we've gone online for sessions. We've got Newcastle, we've got Birmingham, we've got like 3 days in London at the BFI
Mm-hmm.
South Bank. So, you know, we're trying you know, the part of the job is kind of scaling the festival to the point where it can be something that like brands and people like that feel like they can get involved in. The other thing that we think is a real opportunity for us is that you know, we want to work with Black British owned brands, you know, so
Mm-hmm.
like we think there's maybe an opportunity there where like brands who might not necessarily be able to afford to support South by Southwest or the London Film Festival or, you know, those really big type of events might be able to kind of, you know, particularly brands that are trying to talk to Black audiences.
Yeah.
Then, you know, I think that that's a real opportunity for us as well. And it's something that we're
Yes.
going to be exploring in really great depth.
Oh, that's good to hear. Because even when you're talking, I'm thinking about like when you do show the value, like you said, of ticket sales and the amount of people that are coming and showing literally the metrics and the metadata, you know, that's when you can have the like premieres of like Black British films at Soul Fest, you know, like ABFF do that so much with their films, you know, like when I went there, they had the Shaft film that went on Netflix, like that premiered there, you know, and that's what kind of brings more attention to your festival because you're getting all of like the big Black British stars, you know, and a lot of people might say, well, oh, why can't you get Idris or Damson Idris or, you know, all these people, but it's like, that's not how it goes, guys.
I mean, and the thing is, do you know what, to tell me the truth, Damson Idris did the first Soul Fest in 2019.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know, we've had Lenny James and Letitia Wright and obviously Jussie Smollett and Vivica A. Fox.
Exactly.
So we've had lots of talent through the festival over the years, and this year isn't going to be any different. There are things that I can't announce yet, but there's some really good content at the festival that's already announced, and you can find all of that information on our website. I don't know how should I tell people the website address now, or should you want to? So if you go to soulfilmfest.co.uk, you can see what's on in the festival and all of that. So there's loads of stuff that's going to be on in the festival this year, and some really great talent involved, some of which isn't announced yet. So there's some I can't tell you about just quite yet, but like what I can tell you is that we're going to be showing an incredible film called Black is Beautiful, the Kwame Braithwaite story, which is a film about a photographer who kind of coined the phrase Black is Beautiful, and did a lot of visual work that really helped to kind of change people's perception of themselves as Black people and of Black people from the outside. An amazing documentary, Black British director, Black British producer, Black British editor. Those guys will be on stage after we screen the film in London, and I think the director and producer are coming to Birmingham and Newcastle to kind of talk about the film as well. So that's incredible. That's going to be an amazing sort of road trip. We've never done that before. We've got 2 incredible sessions with Sony pictures, one with their company Left Bank, which is about how directors can take these opportunities on set in high-end drama to kind of learn their craft and build their careers. We're doing that with an amazing director, a S.O.U.L alum called Dean Leon Anderson, so he'll be there. We've also got an event with them about anime and Black fandom, and that is with Crunchyroll. So those 2 events are part of the festival this year. We've got a clips and conversation with Gina Prince Blythewood around the film Children of Blood and Bone. So we'll be doing that as well. And then obviously we do our shorts and awards. So we'll be showing 8 short films by Black British directors and Black British production teams. And then we will be doing some awards. And on that night, that's the last night of the festival, that's Sunday, the 13th of September in London. We also have a closing night party. So we're starting off in Newcastle. That's going to be amazing. We go to Birmingham on the Sunday. We're online in between all of those. And then we're back from the Friday, the 11th at the BFI South Bank through to the Sunday, the 13th.
That sounds like a packed event, which sounds amazing.
Listen,
I'm
just hoping I make it through.
And that's just a snippet, like, and what you said is amazing already. With the people you have coming, and also I love that you are going from Newcastle to Birmingham to London, because I think it's so important to come out of that London box. You know, there's so many great talent in different hubs and cities across the UK with Black talent, and you know, everyone needs that reach and that connection. You know, so I think that's great.
And I think
really great.
I think it's just the reality of how life in Britain is changing. You know, in 2023, it was the data from the census told us that that was the first year at which they had records that proved that more of Britain's black population lived outside of London than in. And so that was an important threshold. That's when we crossed that 50% marker. And now, so slightly more of the black British population live outside of London than live inside of it. When that was obviously, go back 30 years, it was the complete opposite to that. So that is the reality of of programming to black audiences in the UK now. So a London-centric sort of point of view would make you less and less relevant to black audiences in the UK in general. And so you have to start thinking about going to where the audiences are. I think the biggest black population in Britain will continue to be London for the foreseeable future, but I think you can't ignore Birmingham anymore. You can't ignore Manchester. You can't ignore Leeds. You can't ignore Bristol. You've got and all across the country, and like everybody in a city that I didn't just mention. Do you know what I mean? Like the Scousers are after me right now. Do you know what I mean? But Liverpool, you can't ignore those places because we're in all of those places. And if you want to really reflect Black Britain, you have to be in those places too.
Facts.
And I think that's a really interesting change in the way, like 40 years ago, do you see what I mean? Black British meant Black London. Doesn't anymore.
And I love that. It's true. Very, very true. So correct me if I'm wrong. Is S.O.U.L like an Oscar or BAFTA qualifying festival yet?
So, we're BAFTA and BIFA qualifying.
Okay. So tell me.
Basically, what does that mean?
How do you even get to become that as well?
Okay, so, I mean, again, that is, that stuff is the field of dream stuff. Do you see what I mean? How are we BAFTA qualifying? How are we BIFA qualifying? I know that essentially people sort of lobbied those organizations to recognize what we're doing, right? So it's that field of dreams thing in that, like, I never planned to build a BAFTA qualifying festival, but it's one of those things that if you build it, they will come type of situations. So that kind of happened. And I think it was because people like Rico Johnson Sinclair at Warner Brothers and people like that really kind of advocated for us and lobbied those organizations to recognize what we were doing. What it actually means for Black British filmmakers is that if you get selected for S.O.U.L, that means that you qualify to enter the BAFTAs. So if you get a short film that screens at S.O.U.L, you now have a flight path to sort of being recognized at the BAFTAs. Like 2023 was the first time, like I think a BAFTA, like a S.O.U.L film had actually won the BAFTA for best short film. So that was the first year where we did that.
Jellyfish and Lobster.
Jellyfish and Lobster, yes. I think. So I think it was the first one that we had where we could say we'd had like a recognition at the BAFTAs for talent that we'd been supporting, particularly. But like I think that was the first one that actually won like the best short or whatever. So that then so the value of that is that there are films that get into S.O.U.L and get recognized and supported by S.O.U.L that might not necessarily get recognized by other film festivals. And so that means that it creates a flight path to that sort of recognition and success that can kind of really affect your career for Black filmmakers in the UK.
So how does it work? So if it's accepted to your festival and then it's screened and whatever, so do you have to submit it or do they submit it?
So you submit it, So the individuals and the producers behind the film will then they'll be eligible to submit their film to BAFTA. Or to BIFA. So that's what it is. It's just that essentially the way that those you have to qualify, you have to reach a certain threshold of distribution or recognition for the film in order to be eligible to kind of submit your film for consideration by the BAFTAs. And so we are a festival that means that you become eligible.
Which is so exciting because I know Elizabeth, who's the producer of that, and it was I was so happy for her to win that award and get that recognition, and that's what it's about, really. Even that year, there was about 2 or 3 Black British films or filmmakers who were nominated in that category. So That's what's the whole point of your festival, to be able to do that. So it's great.
To recognize people and to give people a platform. I mean, the thing is, one of the big challenges is to try and work out, like, I want to make sure that like more black filmmakers, black British filmmakers can get that platform as well. And it's that balance about, like, say for instance, because this year we've got 8 films. So, it's easy then to remember, like, not to remember all 8, but to kind of platform 8 films in a way that kind of gets them greater recognition for the filmmakers and for the films is one thing. But like, and so it's trying to work out what's the balance. Do you see? I mean, if we were to select and get 16 films into the festival, would that half the value to individual filmmakers, or would that double the value to black audiences and to the industry? So it's always, I mean, listen, Kashif, man, if you've got a viewpoint on it, I'd love to hear it. So, but yeah, that's one of the big challenges, how do we, having built this platform that can really shine a light on black filmmakers, how do we make it available to more filmmakers? How do we get bigger audiences? And part of it is getting those bigger audiences and getting that recognition amongst our community. And so there are, I think the ways, obviously get out there and buy a ticket and come see S.O.U.L Fest in Newcastle, Birmingham or London, follow us on social media, subscribe to the podcast, buy some merch or whatever it is. Just, get involved and let us know that you're there, and let the industry know that you're there. And that way that will allow us to kind of keep going and keep building and creating more of a platform for people.
Yeah. I think you've made a good point. It is quality over quantity, right? And I think, like, when I see a lot of like film festivals which are smaller, or they might just be online, you'll see that like they will accept bags of films, and they put it in all different categories. And when learning how the film festival strategy works, and I would see that, I would just be like, okay, I know this is like a 2-bit festival. I doubt you've even properly watched everything. You've just said yes to every single one that has been submitted. And so if you win an award, it doesn't really feel like you're winning an award, because this is just
there are
fluff prize,
there are festivals where essentially they are funded by volume. So essentially they're funded by submission fees, and their model is essentially you get a film and then you get the filmmakers to promote their screening of their film at your festival, and that's how you build up audiences. So that is one way to do it. I think the challenge with doing that with Black Britain is that the biggest kind of challenge to filmmakers and film producers in this market, particularly from the black communities, is funding, money, resource. That's one of the big blockers for us. So building a festival that was reliant on extracting money from filmmakers would be counter to supporting black filmmakers and black audiences in this market, so that's why we don't necessarily, we do charge a film submission fee when we have submissions open, but the fees are nominal. So if you get in early, it's a £5. And even if you're doing late submissions just before the deadline closes, it only gets as expensive as £20. And those fees are nominal if you think about global, like, submission fees across films festivals typically. And the reason those are in place is mostly if we could rely on people to to look at our criteria and say, yes, I meet those criteria, I'll put my film in. No, I don't meet those criteria, I won't put my film in. Right? If we could rely on people to do that, we wouldn't need to charge festival fees at all. But if we don't charge a festival like submission fee, then what we'll do is that we'll get films from everyone. We're trying to do a film festival supporting black British filmmakers. We'll get films from everywhere, from everyone, if you do it for free. And so that's why we have to charge. It's literally only it's a practical thing, really.
No, and I'm happy you said that, because a lot of people don't understand, and it's very expensive, like this whole film festival strategy, because you're submitting your film to these festivals. You have to do research as well. And like you said, the rules, you have to look at what the eligibility is, what is
Absolutely.
like needed. You have to see if your film fits the criteria. And remember, this is non-refundable, so you ain't getting this money back. So you have to like
you have
relook
to
at that.
do the work.
Yeah.
But that's why we try to keep the submission fees to absolute minimum, so that you can actually you can you've got a chance to kind of it's not breaking the bank basically to enter Soulfest.
Yeah. And you said like how you asked how I would think you could develop it more. I think I would say the untapped market in the UK is web series. Web series. If you had a whole category just for web series, there's so many high quality web series out there. If you do that, please, because I did 4.
Listen,
okay, and all my success came from America.
So I mean,
and once in the UK.
I think you're absolutely right that like a web series category is a thing that we should be doing. So, right, Kashif, right, I'm agreeing. We're saying this now, right? So I will, we'll do something with web series next year. We've done it informally and piecemeal, like, Dreaming screened with us, and Ajani is a big sort of supporter of the festival and an alum of the festival. But I think you're quite right in that those web series are an incredible way for talent to build itself. If you think about like Danielle Scott Houghton, how she started with Dear Jesus, and just she's one like just an it was so sad to lose her this year, but she's one of the most incredible talents that we've developed here in the UK. You think about Leon Main and Brothers with No Game, you think about Dreaming Whilst Black, you think about Venus and Mars,
Venus versus Mars,
do you see what I mean?
Just like a couple.
So it is. Yeah, just the couple is like Sebastian Thiel, and look what Sebastian's kind of doing now, and like how he took that from the web to a full blown series, and now he's like, I mean, it's just his career is incredible. So I think you're right. I'm going to commit now that we'll have by the 2027 edition of the festival some way of acknowledging web series, and let's see if we can do that. Because I also want to do something about like vertical content as well. And I think like vertical drama, vertical comedy, and that space as well. Because I think it's really incredible space for developing talent, and there's some really interesting stuff going on there. And it would be great. What I've got to do is what I want to do is I've been trying to find a way of doing like a vertical cinema production. Projection. So normally you go to places it's all landscape. But I need to find a place where you can flip it and go portrait, so that you can show that stuff on the big screen. In its in the way that it's intended to be viewed, but just on a really big scale. So do you see what I mean? Like if there's anybody
definitely get that.
Technical who wants to help me solve that problem, then holler at your boy.
Because I think there's been so many great vertical series that I'm seeing on like Instagram and TikTok, and it's a new market, and so again that fits into the category of web series as well, because I think how you could do it, I would accept maybe you choose 5 web series, and literally they would just have to submit their pilot episode, or the first episode. Doesn't need to be the whole thing. Then that's what you can screen, and then that's fine. And it's like, oh, this is the best web series, blah blah blah, and you can literally have the pioneers of web judge it or do whatever. Hey, so
absolutely,
because so there's so many ways you can
listen. I don't think we're going to absolutely crack this one right this moment, but I think I think you're right. I think it's something that we have kind of been thinking about a little bit of how do we get what the sort of the angle is there, and I think it's something that we'll definitely work on, bro. So you know what I mean. So you never know. I might you may well have just you may just have created a rod for your own back there, Kashif. Do you see what I mean? I may be leaning on you to kind of come and help me do it.
Listen, you're saying it right here, so I'm holding your word to it. Because I've done 4 web series. I have one I'm working on right now as well. Even we would have been a part of that conversation actually of going to TV a few years ago, because I exec produced a web series called Talia Versus that went all the way to Channel 4. We got the commission for their digital platform, and then the writer's strike and all that hit, and then they just said So
It is
yeah,
really tough.
so
That's
so yeah,
really tough.
yeah, but that's the industry, isn't it? That's just how it
Yeah,
goes.
don't worry. I mean, and the thing
Yeah,
is just that,
yeah.
what happens is that if you're operating at a level, then the
Mhm.
opportunity will come again, and
Exactly.
absolutely, like, you'll get that opportunity to either get that
Mhm.
show or another show
Exactly.
away. And, I mean, I'll be here to kind of see it when it happens,
Mhm.
bro.
Yeah, but I'm here. Hit me up. I'm happy to help curate
Absolutely.
it.
I would absolutely love to do that. Absolutely.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's been great talking to you. I feel like I've learned so much about a film festival and obviously the upcoming Soul Fest dates. So, I mean, program, sorry. So please
Yeah,
reiterate, where can people buy tickets? What are the
absolutely.
dates? Yes.
Okay, so at the moment, the way that we run the festival is that our tickets are available for individual events from the box offices of the venue the event is taking place. So you can get tickets from the Tyneside Cinema in Newcastle, the Midlands Arts Centre, the MAC in Birmingham, and the BFI South Bank in London. So that's how you get the tickets. If you want to kind of find somewhere to kind of get to all of those places easily, see what's going on at the festival, then you can go to our website, which is soulfilmfest.co.uk. And essentially what you can do there, that's that Soul Film Fest, S-O-U-L filmfest.co.uk, and you can see a what's on page or a festival schedule there, and that will show you what's on and have a link to the box office in question to allow you to get a ticket.
Amazing. Well, guys, if you haven't been like encouraged or convinced to go to Soulfest,
Yeah.
please just go get your tickets now, because honestly, I'm not just saying that I love Soulfest. I think it's a great curated event. And I love how it's always like over the weekend so people can come after work, or it's chill. It's just so much to do. And you're going to see someone, okay? I always see someone I know at Soulfest. So please
Yeah.
definitely check it out. So yeah,
Brilliant.
thank you
Thank you so
for, no, go on.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for kind of supporting the festival and for coming along over the years. And you know
Of
what I mean? I
course.
look forward to seeing you there this year.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there. So yeah. Well, thanks guys for listening. You can follow me all on my user socials. You know them. There's a bunch of them. Stay tuned for new episodes coming soon.